All right, Shalom, Shalom. Call Layim La, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Bahashim, Rahakak Wadash. Yahweh, being the true name and the only name in the Paleo Hebrew, the Lashawan Kadash, or the holy tongue for who the world any calls God. Yahweh Shai, being the true name and the only name in the Paleo Hebrew, the Lashawan Kadash, or the holy tongue for who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ. Let you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans of Negroid and indigenous descent through the lineage of your fathers know you are the true children of Israel. Yasharal in the Paleo Hebrew, meaning he, prince of the power. Double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles. A great millstone who rule well and teach well, who I learn from daily. The sincere brothers on down, and the likewise like-minded brothers who are scattered throughout this earth, teaching the same doctrine. You Akim and you Aqua, you brothers and you sisters who have returned to Yahweh Shem Yahushai in spirit and in truth. I bid you a shalom, and you speckled bird Israelite foreigners who look like these heathen nations, but truly go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I bid you a shalom as well. And when the 17 nations outside of Yasharal are reading the Bible, what are they truly reading? They are reading your history. So it's your brother Amawan Yasharala back out here on these Salaki. I'm so used to being on highways and hedges, doing a sit down, man. I'm doing a little something different, man, trying to learn this electronic technology, man, so I can continue to edify no matter where I'm at, man. I'm at the plantation right now, but I just wanted to go into something quick, prayerfully through the spirit about many being taken in a great number, man. We're living in a time period where the Lord is cranking up everything, man. And I just want to get into a few articles and wrap some precepts with it, man, and prayerfully that it brings forth edification. So as we can see on the screen, we got Second Esdras, the 5th chapter, in verse 1. Second Esdras 5:1. Nevertheless, as coming the tokens, what are the tokens? The prophecies. Behold, the days shall come that they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in a great number. So that's the time period that we in. That they that are dwell upon the earth are being taken in great number. And as we continue to read, we're going to find out why. And the way of truth shall be hidden. Here shortly, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of, is going to do what? He is going to cut off the power. He's going to shut off the internet, man. He's going the Lord through the Lord's hand. He's going to put a spirit on these devils to do what? To cut off this truth, man. Let me read that again. And the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. So guess what? We're really at that time. Only the faith only lies with who? The Israelites, man. Yasharallah, man. Verse 2. But iniquity shall be increased above that which thou now seest, or that thou hast heard long ago. So you're going to see more and more death intensifying, more and more judgment intensified on the earth. Because of what? Let's drop down to Second Esdras chapter 8 and verse 50. Let me highlight it. Second Esdras 8 and 50. And I asked and said, seeing thou hast Salakia. This ain't at Second Esdras 8 and 50 Salakia. See, I got to get used to this, y'all. Second Esdras 8 and 50 Salakia. Let me highlight it. Why is all this judgment coming out? Because for many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. So the world has walked in great pride. Those who are not acknowledging the power in the heaven and the earth. And who was that? Yahweh Shem Yahushai. We are to be rejoicing right now that you have this light, that you have this truth, that you have this living water, man, because those who are without it are walking in great pride. So I want to start off with my first article. And Lord willing, this is edifying. Salakia, let me get this going. Salakia. Right here. Watch this. The Lord working, man. And what did the Lord set up? The Lord, what we're going to see in this time is that you had more people die in the flood. More people died in the flood in the ancient world than that's going to die in this time. But what did the Heavenly Father do? He has created something called a godlet. When you watch that movie, I like to refer to that a lot. When you go watch Final Destination, where is all movies inspired from? The first movie, which is the scriptures. So let's read this headline. 3 people killed in a crash involving a bus and a tractor trailer on a Virginia interstate. Watch this. A bus and a tractor trailer collided on a Virginia highway overnight, killing 3 passengers just outside of Colonial Williamsburg, authorities said Friday. 2 men and a woman died in the crash that happened about 1:38 a.m. on eastbound Interstate 64 in York County, officials said. As the passenger bus merged into the tractor trailer's path, the vehicles collided, according to police statement. The impact of the crash caused the tractor trailer to run off the left side of the interstate and continue into the median where it struck an embankment. The 3 victims had been riding on the bus and both drivers appeared to survive. A state police representative said no one on the commercial bus, a driver and 23 passengers, was wearing seatbelts when their coach crashed, police said. So why weren't they wearing those seatbelts? Because the Lord does what? He puts the thoughts on man. Let's get that real quick. Let's go back to the scriptures. Let's go to the book of Amos. The book of Amos, chapter 4 and verse 13. Amos 4 and 13. For lo, he that formeth the mountains and createth the wind and declareth unto man what is his thought. So he declared unto them people what they thoughts was, not to put those seatbelts on, right? See that? That maketh the morning darkness and tread upon the high places of the earth. The Adawan Yahweh, the power of the host is his name. Let's back that up with this. You should know where we're going. Proverbs chapter 21. Proverbs chapter 21. The king's heart are going into mankind. The king's heart is in the hands of the Adawan Yahweh. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever way he will. So guess what? He put the spirit on these people not to put these seatbelts on to do what? To bring, as the scriptures let us know, the Lord is the king of terrors, right? Let's also get this. Let's go to the book of Colossians. The book of Colossians, chapter 1. And I'm going to start at verse 15 because I was talking about the gauntlet that the world has, what the so-called white man would call evolution. He let Yahweh Shem Yahushua evolve a construct where nothing but sheer terror, everything that we see in front of us will result in terror. Colossians 1 and 15. Who is the image of the invisible power, the firstborn of every creature? That's Yahweh Shai. Verse 16, for by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him. So everything that we see and that we cannot see was created by Yahweh Shem Yahushua and for his pleasure. Verse 17, and he is before all things, and by him all things consist. So all things consist due to the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And how would that look? Let's go to the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 42 and verse 23. So Ecclesiasticus is also known as Sirach 42 and 23. All these things live and remain forever for all uses, and they are all obedient. So cars, trains, planes, automobiles, boats, buildings, everything we see is for the uses of Yahweh Shem Yahushua to do what? To bring terror upon the earth, man. Yahweh Shem Yahushua in judgment. So now, with that being said, let's go back. I want to read the next article. And prayerfully, this is my first time using this. Prayerfully, I can get, more fluent with my with my edification on this app, man. Let me go to let's go to right here. Two people, this is in Chicago. 2 people killed, 2 wounded in shooting outside Chicago high school. 2 people were killed and 2 others were wounded in a shooting outside Benito Juarez High School, southwest of downtown Chicago, Friday afternoon. Police Superintendent David Brown told reporters Friday no suspects are in custody. He told reporters at a news conference Brown said he didn't have any information about the victims because the investigation is in its early stages. Earlier, Chicago Fire Department spokesman Larry Langford said 4 students were shot. Brown said he didn't want to speculate and wouldn't confirm the people shot were students. Police said in a news release that 2 deceased victims were boys who were each shot in the head. Woo. One who was 14 years old and the others 15 years old. The 2 wounded victims are in good condition, police said. One 15-year-old boy was shot in the thigh and the shoulder, and the other 15-year-old girl whose thigh was grazed by a bullet. So the Lord is increasing the spirits, the tension, the mayhem, the judgment on earth. Whereas even at schools, no matter where you at, man, things can pop off, man. No pun intended, man. Matter of fact, let me get into this next article, man. Let's get into this next article. And this happened because the scriptures say that he will bring plagues of people, punish the world. He will punish the world. Here we go right here. Here we go right here. Apocalyptic fire rips through French apartment block, killing 10. At least 10 people, including 5 children. And the scriptures let you know that that the Heavenly Father is not a respecter of persons, that he will kill men, women, and children. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. I believe that's 2 Chronicles. Let me see if we can find this through the Spirit. 2 Chronicles chapter 16, I want to say. In verse, let me find that. 2 Chronicles. Where is that at? Let me get it. Real quick. Let's get that. Where is that at? Salakia, y'all. Salakia, where is that at? I believe I thought it was 2 Chronicles. Maybe it's first. Where is it at? Salakia. I gotta find this now. I had to find this where he says, Salakia. I'm gonna find this. 1 second. I done wrong it out. I gotta find it now. I know Ezekiel 9. I'll just go to Ezekiel. Yeah, we can just go to Ezekiel. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, man. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 9. And verse Ezekiel 9, starting at, that's Hosea. Salakia. Got to get my game up, baby. Ezekiel 9 and verse, we just might as well start at 4. And the Adawan Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So what is that mark upon the forehead? That mark would be this truth. And what is going through Jerusalem? This death angel, man. This spirit of death. Verse 5, and to the others, he said in my hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite, let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women. but come not near any man upon whom is the mark. And once we understand there is nothing new under the sun, this time period is going to take place again. And how will you be delivered from that? By having this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man. So let's continue. And I'm going to read that part again. Slay utterly old, young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. So guess what? Beginning at his sanctuary would mean beginning with you Israelites, man. See that? Call Layim La, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rekakwadash. So now, with that being dealt with, let's go back to the article. And Lord willing, I get even sharper with my presentation with this. But hey, it is what it is. At least, let me put that back in perspective. Apocalyptic fire rips through French apartment block, killing 10. At least 10 people, including 5 children, were killed when a massive fire ripped through a 8-story apartment block in a suburb of the French city of Lyon early Friday morning. The fire broke out on the ground floor of the structure in the town of Val-en-Velin. Major Jeffrey Cassou, a spokesman for the National Federation of Firefighters, told French broadcaster LCI on Friday. The inferno then went on to engulf the top 3 floors of the building, according to CNN affiliate BFM TV. Frightened families were roused from their beds by what one resident called apocalyptic scenes. So when you go to the book of Isaiah, the 66th chapter, in the 4th verse, it tells you that he would do what? Let me get that real quick. I got to bring that out. Isaiah 66 and verse 4. I will also choose their delusions, and I will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear, speaking of the Israelites, but they did evil before my eyes and chose that in which I delighted not. So this was going to the Israelites, but we understand what? When you go into Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter and the 7th verse, the curses that he placed upon us, he will place upon our enemies. So everything that was laid down for us will be laid down for these damn heathens, man. That's why the scriptures tell you this. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 11. Knowing therefore the terror of the Adonai Yahweh, we persuade men, but we are made manifest unto the Heavenly Father, and I trust also are made manifest in your consciences. So knowing the terror of the Lord, he's a terror. When you go to Psalms, I believe that's the 66th chapter, it tells you how terrible he is to the children of men. So we are, through these epistles, through this word coming out, we trust that it's made manifest in you people's consciences, man. So now, going back to the article and continuing where I left off, Salakia for it taking so long to load up. I'm at the plantation with this damn Wi-Fi. Continuing on, neighbors, let me read that again. Frightened families were roused from their beds by what one resident called apocalyptic scenes as smoke and flames enveloped the remnants of their homes. In an interview with French radio station RTL, the resident said she and her husband put their children under a wet sheet to help them survive. Neighbors were awakened by the chaos as early as 2:25 a.m., according to BFM TV, by shouts of parents and children screaming for help, some from the balconies of their apartments. Bystanders jumped in to help using ladders they could find. So, with that being said, inside they found that structures' internal evacuation routes had been blocked by smoke, according to Cassau, forcing them to reach many families' ladders. So At the end of the day, the Lord does what, man? He's visiting. He said that he will visit you with what? Let's get that real quick. He said he would visit. He said he would visit with flames of fire. Let's get that in Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 6. Thou shalt be visited. Let me highlight it. Thou shalt be visited of the Adonai Yahweh of hosts. Hosts means armies, with thunder and with earthquake and with great noise, with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. When you go to Sirach, the 39th chapter, the 28th verse, it tells you about the spirits that's created for vengeance. That he will use fire, the sword, famine, death, and destruction, man. So at the end of the day, man, the Lord is standing upon his word, and these things are going to intensify. Let me read this again. Isaiah 29 and 6, thou shalt be visited of the Adonai Yahweh of hosts with thunder. And when you go and you look at what's going on in the Midwest, out there in the Midwest, I've seen one brother where it was, I think it was called, I forget, I think it was hail snow. No, it was rain. What was it? It was lightning snow or something like it was lightning and snowing at the same time. And that's going right into this. Thou shalt be visited of the Adonai Yahweh of hosts with thunder and with earthquake. You just had earthquakes over there in Indonesia. See? And great noise with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. So those fires that's looking apocalyptic, you are being visited by the king of terrors, man. Let's continue, man. Let's continue going back. I'm almost done with these articles, and I got a few more precepts to get. Let's continue, man. It's new for me, man. This technology new for me, but I'm gonna get my game up. So where I'm truly edifying with these lessons, man, once I get it under wraps, man. The water to all of those prayerfully is edifying to you, man. Let's go to, this is a beautiful one right here. Let's go to right here. Watch this. This from WebMD. Watch this. Outbreak of potentially deadly bacteria reported in 4 states. This is from December. This was from yesterday. An outbreak of potentially deadly bacteria in at least 4 states has federal officials on alert. The bacteria called Strep A has killed 13 children in the United Kingdom. So them devils over there in the UK, over there in Russia, and over there in the Ukraine, these devils catching hell, man. The Lord is standing upon his word. In the United States, cases are up in Arizona, Colorado, Texas, and Washington. NBC News reported the same type of bacteria that can commonly cause a strep throat can also cause a serious infection type called Group A streptococcal disease, which can result in flesh-eating disease and toxic shock that sometimes leads to death. So who is the harbinger of death? We know that the scriptures let us know who the harbinger of death is. Let's get that real quick. Because Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of, is as death. The scriptures let you know that. Let's go to the book of Revelations, chapter 6, and starting at verse 4. Let me highlight that. And there went out another horse that was red. That horse represents power. Red represents Edom. Esau, because it says the first came out red, the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. So his great sword starts with his ideologies, his indoctrinations of his school system, the water, the food, the disease. See that? You know, when you go into that word CDC, Center of Disease Control, means that these people, these damn Salaki, let me say that the right way, these damn devils control the diseases. So why do you have this bacteria that can turn into a flesh-eating disease out? Well, we understand that we're not how does that go? We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. That's how I go. Let's drop down to verse 9. Salakia. Salakia, verse 8. Let me highlight that as well, showing you that the so-called white man is as deaf, and he's the one who releases these diseases. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse. That pale horse is the so-called white man, Esau Edom. And his name that sat on him was Death. And hell followed him. Anywhere these people are, death and hell follows. Hell going into destruction and just and plague, pestilence, slavery. Everything is turned upside down. And hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword and with hunger and with death and with the beasts of the earth. So everything that the so-called white man touches, man, it brings forth death and hell, man. So now, going back to this article, and I'm going to get ready to close. Salakia. It's done went a little bit longer than I wanted it to go, but I'll get better here shortly as much as I continue on to do these sit downs. Let me read that part again. The same type of bacteria that commonly causes strep throat can also cause a serious infection type called Group A streptococcal disease, which can result in flesh-eating disease and toxic shock that sometimes leads to death. The so-called white man leads to death. We just read it. Everything that he presents. These are cases beyond an ordinary strep throat. So we know that these devils is going to pull out all the stops to lead you to bring forth what? The New World Order, the RFID microchip. Let's continue. Dropping down a little bit. Versalovic is pathologist chief at Texas Children's Hospital in Houston, the largest pediatric hospital in the U.S. His facility saw 60 cases in October and November, which is greater than a fourfold increase compared to the same period last year. Let's lead this last part. The CDC, the Center of Disease Control, meaning that they control the disease. The CDC said earlier this month that it is looking into a possible increase in invasive Group A strep infections among children in the United States, and says parents should learn the symptoms of necrotizing fasciitis, flesh-eating disease, and streptococcal toxic shock syndrome. So these devils is up to the same old tricks, man. This is what they've been doing when they came over here and brought their filthy asses over here. They was full of disease, man. See that? So now let's get into it, man, because the scriptures tell us that we will prophesy about pestilences, man, because disease is pestilence. Jeremiah 28:8. Jeremiah 28:8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. So all throughout the scriptures, once we understand all these prophets that we're reading are back today, and they are doing what? Prophesying of the same things of what? War and of evil and of pestilence against these kingdoms, man. See that? Let's even back it up even more, because Yahweh Shai told you these would be warning signs of his coming, that he would be drawing near. Let's Matthew 24 and verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation. We're seeing that, heating up right now in front of our eyes, nation against nation. And that also goes into nationality against nationality and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines. We know that there is a great famine on the way. See? And pestilences. See? So we got more pestilences. S is plural. We have more diseases coming down the pike. We know these devils is going to release everything. And earthquakes in diverse places. Verse 8. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So the so-called white man was placed here, to lead the earth into destruction, into wickedness, which leads into destruction. So guess what? That's why we're seeing the uptick in judgment on the earth, because the scriptures let you know this as well. Unbeknownst to a lot of people. See, they don't tell you this in the Christian church. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, also known as Salakia. Yeah, see, the damn stream just cut. Yeah, the damn stream just cut, man. Call La.